carjacking suspect after East Los Angeles chase. Stop for a moment and talk to another driver, then continue driving. The suspect was driving recklessly, speeding in and out of lanes without stopping at red lights through city streets, before hitting several vehicles and continuing to drive. He was at a loss as to which direction to drive before choosing the road. A man led authorities on a chase after stealing a work vehicle in East Los Angeles on Monday, December 9th. A man driving a stolen vehicle through East Los Angeles was pursued by Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies. The suspect was weaving in and out of lanes through city streets, circling multiple vehicles around 12:30 p.m. The driver then stopped in the middle of the street and backed out before taking off again.
Sheriff's Department, and oh yeah, that is Sheriff's Department now pulling up right behind it. The door open is a good sign, but does that mean this is over? You know what? That vehicle might have some flat tires. While we were talking, I saw a sheriff's vehicle stopped in the middle of the road. It did look like they threw out some spike strips, so that might be part of that reason. Well, I'm not blaming the spike strips, but the maneuverability on that truck when he made that turn there onto 64th Street off of Hooper. You know, you saw it. We saw it. He crashed into some parked cars. I always feel bad for anybody that's parking on the street and that happens to him. But, you know, that might be part of it. Maybe those tires were going down and that driver was having trouble turning that vehicle. Now, the door is open. You can see the officers. They have their weapons out. But is this over? No, because that vehicle could still drive away even with those flat tires. Now, that driver, clearly, I would venture to say, maybe a little inebriated, something going on there because of the fact the way he's been driving, and also we've seen him stop and actually talk to other people right before we went live. But right now, though, the Sheriff's Department, they're having a little bit of an issue. How are they going to stop it? Now, in the past, we've had people ask me things like, well, why don't they just pull somebody up in front of them? You know, they can't do that. They have their policies out here, and if you put a deputy in the way of harm, then if something happens, it becomes a very complicated situation because you're placing that deputy in the way of harm. There you go. Oh. Doors closed, Araxia. I was betting on that. Now it's starting to move again, but you can see that truck kind of leaning off to the passenger side, so I'm venturing to say probably has at least one flat tire.
Yeah, and stopped once again. Didn't get very far at all. So it does look like the vehicle is leaning, right? To me, from this vantage point at least, it looks like it's leaning a little bit to the right. Definitely
leaning. It looks like it's leaning to the right until we actually see it. we never want to guess, because whenever I guess it, I usually guess wrong. But right now, though, you can see it. It does definitely look like it's leaning. Let's see what the deputies are doing. They're kind of just playing catch-up. They're going to stay behind him there. And again, you've got some people out front, and this guy clearly doesn't have a clue what's going on out there. But I worry about any time a pedestrian gets out in front, especially a big truck like that, and that driver driving in that erratic way. So right now, it's going to be this kind of game of hopscotch. Those deputies, I do feel for them, because every time that vehicle stops, they've got to get out. They've got to do their process. They've got to, pull their weapons, get in a defensive position. They're making their call-outs, but there you go. So now, what do you got to do? Back in your car again, and it's going to continue on. Now, are they going to chase it? That's the question, because they basically backed off, and they were just letting the helicopter, the LAPD helicopter, make the calls. Just tell them where this vehicle is. So they might get back into that type of position. I would venture to say the slow and go, stop and go, those deputies are going to stay very close by. This thing getting farther and farther away from us. Hopefully, he's going to make a choice here and make a turn either to the north or the south, and maybe hopefully get a little bit closer. But you see some people over there, they are actually, I would hope to say that he's taking pictures out there. It's a little bit off at a distance, and it is very hazy.
Those look like just people out on the street approaching the car, well, from a distance, but just walking up to it,
right.
Just curious, trying to figure out what's going on, right? Those aren't police officers.
Those were definitely not police officers, and I venture to say there were some folks out there with their cell phones just trying to get a picture or see what's going on out there. Very dangerous situation. Of course, we don't know, because they did say the words carjacking. So just because this guy is a little erratic, doesn't have a shirt on, doesn't mean he's not armed. And of course, we're not privy to any of what the weapon was in that carjacking. So right now, though, it's still a very dangerous situation, a very serious situation. And those deputies, every time that vehicle stops, you're going to watch them. They got to do that same dance that they have to do. And there's that skateboarder again. This is just one of those things. You're in a residential neighborhood, so you're going to have residents. There you go. You have a deputy ready to move if it is safe. You got an officer right out there off of, I believe that's going to be Compton and or Central. Sorry, that's going to be Central. So right now, though, it's still a very kind of standoffy type of situation. And of course, those deputies, they're going to be concerned about the people in that neighborhood. You got people crossing the street. You got another person right there in that center crosswalk. But again, how do you bring this thing to an end? It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Authorities attempted to deploy a spike strip around 12:35 p.m. About 2 minutes later, the driver crashed into parked vehicles and then came to a stop near Huber Street and East 64th Street. The truck appeared to be disabled. Several sheriff's deputies approached the truck and the man surrendered. Los Angeles, a group of suspects who may have been connected to a shooting were in custody, but not before leading a dangerous police chase that stretched through the downtown Los Angeles and Westlake neighborhoods. 3 suspects were arrested during the chase, while the 4th suspect ran toward a nearby school in Westlake. The 4th suspect was eventually arrested. It is not known what shooting case the suspects may be connected to.
overheating. Looks like we're getting back onto the freeway. I would venture to say it looks like we're going to be going back northbound, so basically heading back to the area that we were just at. This car moving very, very quickly. You can see that there are no black and whites, no law enforcement on the ground behind it. That helicopter, that's the one making the calls right now, and it's going to be the sheriff's department making his way back over. Dylan, we're going to have to get over it because he likes to hug that wall. Dylan's our pilot today. He's the man at the tiller, keeping Skyfox safe. Look at that. Look at that. Making some bad decisions right there. I mean, the more bad decisions. The first bad decision would probably be to run from law enforcement. The second one, banging into a deputy's vehicle. Now, that's going to be ADW on an officer, assault with a deadly weapon. And then on top of that, then they attempted to carjack a vehicle. I think they do have one person in custody that they got out of the car, and then they took that one person into custody, but that vehicle is still moving now northbound on the 110 freeway. Speeds, I'm going to find out some speeds for you right there, and that's probably about accurate. We're probably touching the triple digits when he gets that free open speed, but there's a lot of traffic out here today, and that bothers me just also because you're going to have a lot of folks out here because of the holiday weekend, and this pursuit continues northbound on the 110 freeway. Bouncing back and forth right there. Now we're going to be, I believe this is the upper level of the carpool where, usually people just really start to open this thing up. I've seen people hit those triple digits, but again, a lot of folks out here this holiday weekend. It's Saturday. I'm kind of not used to the time of day because this isn't my usual shift, but you can see that vehicle really starting to move, weaving through in and out of traffic. This Mercedes four-door, I would venture to say probably a C-Class, maybe an E-Class, now with at least 4 people in there, the driver and 3 others. They tried to carjack somebody just moments ago, and this car moving along at quite a fast clip, about 90 miles an hour, but it just can't seem to catch a break. And the problem also is that all these folks don't know what's going on. And of course, there is no law enforcement behind there, so there are no lights and sirens, so people just aren't getting that warning this afternoon on that freeway. When you would see those lights and sirens, you'd get heads up, hey, there's something happening here. This driver, very reckless, very careless for any of the other folks on the roadway. Looks like we're committed to that off-ramp. This is going to take us off onto Adams. If he stays here, you can see right there, but there's plenty of opportunity to get back onto the 110 freeway. It's going to be very congested if he makes his way off here, gets onto Adams. In any direction he goes, this portion of downtown Los Angeles right now, probably going to have a lot of traffic out there, so hopefully he doesn't collide with anybody. That's my biggest fear, hurting him, hurting others, hurting himself, and then, of course, you just don't want to see this come to an end badly. Right now, though, high speeds. This car wanted for ADW on an officer and attempt carjacking. Right now, making his way over to Adams. Hard turn. We're going to be heading eastbound on Adams, and this is going to be a lot of traffic out here. This is where it does get very, very tight out here in this neighborhood. We're going to get Skyfox back over it, and we're going to get an eye on it. But right now, there's that sheriff's ship. That's a beautiful picture. You got that sheriff's helicopter, that suspect fleeing right there. And again, the only persons, our only law enforcement that are really anywhere in this area is going to be that sheriff's helicopter keeping an eye on this guy. He could slow it down anytime, could put those brakes on, start driving normally, and possibly save somebody's life. But this suspect continues to just put his foot into it, and we're moving along at 90 miles an hour on Adams Boulevard in downtown Los Angeles. This is very, I don't have to say it. You know it. Everybody watching knows that this is a very dangerous pursuit. Oh, no. Oh, gosh. I wonder if he got some air on that one. That was close. You just got to think, too, if that would have been a friend of yours, a family member, that just driving along and this maniac cuts through there, coming through that corner right there. So we're going to be going northbound on Central. Also, not really a great take. As he makes his way over to the 10 freeway, it is going to start getting more and more busy as he makes his way into like the districts area here in the downtown Los Angeles. Right now, though, Central does look like a good take. But again, those types of speeds, this type of driving with that suspect running and that car now with those overheated brakes, I am very concerned about anybody that may be in front or near that vehicle when he's passing at everybody at these high speeds. I just don't want to see anybody get hurt, including the driver or any of those occupants inside that vehicle. The only thing that this car is wanted for is a... Oh my God, that was close. Oh my God, that was close. You know, the only thing that this suspect is wanted for is a previous pursuit. And in continuing to run at these high speeds right now, the sheriff's ship still overhead. LAPD definitely notified about what's going on their streets. I'm sure if it goes by a law enforcement vehicle, they may re-engage the pursuit. I was quiet right there because we're still northbound central. We're making our way into the downtown Los Angeles area, getting into the districts. This means it's a very industrial out here. You know what? It is Saturday. There isn't a lot of people out here. Some of these streets will be very, very packed because they specialize for the, the weekends. Every time he gets air like that, I also worry if he tries to do a maneuver when there's no tires on the ground, that car is not going to respond well. And these are the problems about driving at these insanely high speeds. Right now, continuing on the on Central Avenue, making our way towards the north part of downtown. So it gives you an idea how fast this car's been going. Thank goodness that light was red, but wide open right there. The car continuing on. Again, I cannot stress this enough. This person could just slow it down, go 40 miles an hour, something. But you can see it right there. He's still about 50 or so. But when he gets into those triple digits in these neighborhoods, I just worry. Oh, look at that, people just walking. Yep, yeah, I see it. He's going to come out the other side. If we can get a little closer, that'd be great, Dylan. I know. Whoa! Go! Yep. Doors are open, cars damaged. Everybody's out there, out running. I haven't seen the driver yet. I don't know if he got out on the passenger side. Running into Chinatown. Oh, my God. Oh, it's creating a panic. People don't know what's going on. It's like they're totally panicking down there. Wow. Basically, what they're doing is the sheriff's ship is making an announcement on their loudspeakers that there is an armed gunman loose down there, and they're asking people to clear the area. And you can see that response. I have never seen something like that. Yep, we're good right here. We're going to stop right here for a little bit.
A real question here as to what the original want is. That'll dictate how they proceed. Is there a known weapon in there? Is it simply a traffic stop, or is this a stolen vehicle? All of those things we should find out here in the next couple of minutes, some of those answers. But right now we have no idea what this vehicle is wanted for or what they know about the suspects inside of this vehicle.
Look at him just going past 5 lanes of freeway and now going to the shoulder of the road. I don't know if he's approaching some exit coming up, Chris, but...
trying to get around that big rig, too. Is this an exit here? Or is it
is an exit. It is an exit. He's getting off of the 105 freeway.
Oh,
that's going to be Bellflower Boulevard, a wild left turn at the red light there onto southbound Bellflower Boulevard. Another opportunity to get back on the freeway. Could make a right or a left, or could go straight through and continue southbound on Bellflower at these speeds. They could possibly consider that pit maneuver again until he pushes the pedal, which has been the pattern here. Every time that lead primary unit gets right behind him, he starts to really move much quicker, and you can see as he's maneuvering through these intersections, very little braking going on, so you can only hope that as he continues this behavior and this wild driving, that he doesn't encounter much cross traffic, because that's a recipe for disaster, the way he's speeding through these intersections.
Right, a heavy vehicle going 80 miles an hour and residential streets.
Bellflower at 86 miles per hour. Let's show you those spike strips, by the way. They're aggressively trying to get, look at the top of your screen. You're going to see a deputy right there. That was the first one, I think, right?
On the sidewalk. He's on the sidewalk now, back on Bellflower. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, he jumped off over the curb, onto the sidewalk, now into oncoming lanes, making a wild left. Look at this, barely braking for these wild turns now in a residential area on surface streets here. Potter Street and a very, very narrow block here. Potter Street coming up on Cabell Avenue. Here in Downey, you can see this is a residential neighborhood with a number of dead ends and cul-de-sacs. So it'll be interesting to see if he knows his way around this. More than likely, he may very well end up caught in one of those dead ends. But we'll see, because just in the last couple of minutes that we've been watching this suspect, they're really, the turns have been so last minute and so random. I just don't feel like he's got a real clear destination.
And the passenger looks like she's just on her cell phone. You know, this is a scary part. When I guess you could call your friends if they live in this area to keep the kids inside, because, you know, kids are outside after school, walking home.
That's right. And
we're hearing.
Sorry about that.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Alan. Yeah, you were just about to say, I think we're getting word now to some of those questions. We can now say that this is a reported, unreported stolen vehicle. So it's a stolen vehicle that has not been reported by the owner yet. That is the report that's coming out from the LA County Sheriff's Department. So they are dealing with a grand theft auto suspect. Earlier, we had at least 2 or 3 units behind it, but it's notable how many units they have in position along the way here, enough so that we've seen at least 2 separate spike attempts, whether those units happen to be in the right place at the right time or they were setting up for that, because again, these turns have been so random. Very hard to set up for a spike strip when you don't know where the suspect is going and there hasn't been any real established by the driver, but nonetheless they were able to attempt those 2 spike strips. Both of them, I think, fell short, and now he's continuing through another busy intersection here at Woodruff and Alondra Boulevard.
Yeah, all this going on during rush hour traffic, pretty heavy traffic at that, and these various intersections. You see all the cars lined up. Boy, this could end badly if he continues on this route. And just the speeds alone, on Woodruff 86 miles an hour, Bellflower 86, Studebaker 95 miles an hour, Rosecrans 75 miles per hour. Very dangerous pursuit going on here. I wonder if they're thinking about a spike strip again. He's flying right now, 92.
Yeah, wow.
90 miles per hour and not even slowing down for these red lights. And even at the green lights, it's still just as dangerous. When you're going these speeds through red lights and stop signs, it's a recipe for disaster. Can't stress enough at these speeds and the lack of braking, the refusal to even slow down as easy. Barely managed to keep control of the vehicle for some of these turns. They've been so wild, and there's a right turn. He slowed down a little bit for that one, but a lot of these turns have just been taken so fast, so easy to lose control, especially even a compact SUV like that is still top heavy and still easier to lose control. But in any event, a much more quiet street here, Artesia Boulevard, with a little bit less traffic. We'll see if he continues at these speeds, because that may be an opportunity. If there's if it eases up on traffic, they may find a possible opportunity to pit the vehicle. But here comes another busy intersection and some more moderate traffic up ahead here. Again, LA County Sheriff helicopter still following right above him at a relatively low altitude, and you can see weaving through the little bit of traffic that's in his way here, barely slowing down at all for these intersections.
Right. We showed you those spike strips that happened a couple of times. They were unsuccessful. And here
on the sidewalk again.
This is, yeah, we were just going to say, running some video on the right-hand side. Was that?
Look at this, another spike, another spike.
He went, just overshot just a little bit. Overshot the spike, the spike toss. You can now see 5 black and whites right behind him, and he had to pull that spike just fast enough so that none of those deputies ran over the spikes, and it appears that they were able to avert that. But it just looked like he tossed it a little bit too hard, and it just missed the spikes on the strip. And so now the pursuit continues. Got to give it to these deputies. Look at this. He's coming back for more. He's going back. Look at this. He's snaking right through those oncoming officers back towards the spike strip. Let's see if that officer has another opportunity to lay down that spike strip. He may not have another opportunity, but if he does, we'll catch it here in just a second. I think we may have already. Well, no, here it comes. Here comes another attempt, maybe? Nope. And it looks like they put the spikes away. We're not ready for that U-turn. And look at him over the median. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. He has no regard for property or life here. He is just desperate to get away. Look at this. Bailing, foot bailing in the middle of the intersection. Look at this, right into a city bus, Long Beach Transit, as he crashes into a Long Beach Transit bus. Both suspects running in front of the bus into a shopping center, now with their hands up. Deputies in foot pursuit here, and now they've got their guns drawn, tasers drawn, a slew of deputies chasing these two into that shopping center. Here is suspect number 2. I believe that's the passenger being taken down there by LA County Sheriff's Lakewood deputy.
The arrest of the suspect in the murder after a wild chase via South Los Angeles. Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Police Department is chasing a suspect in a murder. Thursday morning, April 11, 2024. The Los Angeles Police Administration was the search for a suspect in the killing on Thursday morning. The suspect was destroyed when it seemed to be a small truck trailer and continued to speed in the side streets. The suspect was destroyed at least twice, although the car has at least one flat tire. The suspect collided with what appeared to be a small truck trailer and continued to speed across the side streets. The suspect was destroyed at least twice, although the car tire was at least one piercing. The suspect is incorrectly led residential areas and even experimental parking while continuing to chase. Shortly after, the suspect stopped the Maronite sedan near the intersection of 57th Street and St. Andrews Place in the Chesterfield Square neighborhood, South Los Angeles. Then get rid of the alleged stolen car and fled. However, the chase of the foot was short-term. The suspect surrendered to the officers within 1 minute and was later detained.